Well, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather we got. Wait a minute. Well, whether it's cold, whether it's hot,
The Comedeorological report.
Frankie's got the weather, whether or not. There it is.
Hello and welcome to the Comedeorological report. Yes, Comedeorology, it's the exact science that I, myself, Joey only, founded. It's the science of comedy and meteorology because the weather is funny business. You're listening to us on CFUR FM in Prince George. That's 88.7 FM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and repeats Tuesdays at 4 p.m. And of course, CKUW 95.9 Winnipeg. We couldn't call ourselves a show without you too. That airs Mondays at noon. So that's who we are and what's going on. And of course, the man Frankie MacDonald will be here with us shortly. I got Imogen Cookie Bailey back as usual, but special guests this week as well. We got Mark Robinson returning. You may know him from being the storm chaser on the Weather Network. And here's Frankie MacDonald himself. So
Frankie, the weatherman. Frankie, the weatherman. Who? Frankie. Who? Frankie. Ladies and gentlemen, Frankie.
hey, Frankie MacDonald, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great so far. Hi, Mark. I'm doing great.
Hi, Frankie. How you doing?
I'm doing great so far. You've been chasing.
I missed that one, Frankie. What'd you say?
City, Nova Scotia. It was warm outside today. It's cool out in the night this time of the year in my area. Today's the first official day of fall. It's still extremely hot in Nevada right now. And Richmond, Virginia had so much rain. And somewhere in southern Ontario had a lot of rain earlier in the day. And British Columbia is getting warm air and cold air fighting each other. Same with Alberta. They're getting a snowstorm up in northern Yukon and parts of Northwest Territories already.
What's going on in Russia this week?
It's getting colder there right now in Siberia. Their fire season's coming to an end.
Right on. How about Europe?
Over in Europe, it's still fighting heat and cold air, fighting each other. Over in England and starting the rainy season. Over in Thailand, the rainy season's coming to an end soon in Bangkok, Thailand. India's monsoon season's coming to an end soon. Indonesia will soon be entering rainy season as well. In Australia, it's getting warmer. New Zealand's getting warmer. South Africa and Argentina and Falkland Islands, they're getting warmer this time of the year.
Excellent. The man, Frankie MacDonald.
Frankie, the weatherman. Frankie, the weatherman. Who? Frankie.
Mark Robinson. Frankie was mentioning the incredible rainfall in Ontario. And I guess this is a summer ending episode, right? We might as well pay some tribute to the season we just had. So I'd like to tonight sort of talk about what everyone's summer was like, where they were. But of course, the last 2 weeks in Ontario have been pretty interesting. Gabriel Berardo is going to be with us pretty shortly. He's putting on his suit right now, but he's been updating us as to what's going on. But now we have you yourself. How you doing, Mark?
No, not bad. It's been it's been one of the busier Septembers I've had without hurricanes. Like normally I go down to the hurricanes. We tried to get down to Ida, but COVID just made it impossible. With all the hoops we had to jump through and how fast that hurricane was coming in, we just couldn't do it. Would have loved to have been down on the down just south of New Orleans, but we had to, like, there was a bunch of essentially it was just paperwork that needed to be done plus testing to cross the border, because I'm not considered fully vaccinated, even though I'm fully vaccinated because I've got the mixed. So they're like, oh, you haven't been fully vaccinated. So it's like, oh, it's really so it's one of those
in my
things.
area, I found it out. Steve Murphy, the chief anchor of CTV Atlantic News, his final appearance on CTV Atlantic News, that'll be on November 30th, 2021. I found it out on CTV website, atlantic.ctvnews.ca. The anchor of CTV Atlantic is retired on November 30th. That would be his last day on TV.
Job open. So any one of us meteorologists here could maybe hop in there. So I want to come back to you and talk to you about the tornadoes and how busy September's been. Imogen's been waiting patiently. Just want to say, and you're Imogen this week. How's the weather been in Victoria, British Columbia?
Today, strangely rainy, strangely wet. Rain just rolled in about an hour ago. I'm hearing that there's little patches of fog all over the lower island. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what I've been hearing. Seeing people complaining about it on Facebook. I prefer to think that it's just like the fog is ghosts of rain that hasn't landed yet.
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, technically, it is in like a way. I mean, like, it's still like water, like vapors. Technically, I mean, like.
I know, right? It's ghosts.
Yeah.
Every time it grazes through a cloud, I like to think that I'm just walking right through a ghost. I think that's kind of fun. I want to possess a ghost instead of being possessed by a ghost.
Well, it's getting to
Yeah,
that
yeah.
spooky time of year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Even the weather is spooky.
Ooh.
It should be looking. It's looking like it's going to be sunnier here on Friday, but then the rest of the week is looking cloudy, overcast, kind of scattered, little hints of sunshine, and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is just going to be pouring rain. I got my umbrella. I got to be careful because leather doesn't handle the water very well.
Hey, wait, hold up. Did you just open that inside your house?
Spooky.
Is it like bad luck? I don't want that bad luck.
Mark,
Open the umbrella in your
Reed
house.
Timmer's been down New Orleans, Louisiana on August 29th for Hurricane Ida. Reed Timmer went down there for hurricane. And Reed Timmer traveled all the way down New Orleans for Hurricane Ida. He's dealing with a really wind-driven rain, sideways rain, and downpours and things like that.
Yeah, no, he can go down there because he's already in the States. Any of the Canadians was going to be very, very difficult.
Or that means Jim Cantor and Reed Timmer can travel to Canada. You can't travel to the States by land border crossing.
Basically, yeah, that's basically the way it's working for now. Is I can't cross the border easily. I mean, you can, but coming back, there's all sorts of quarantine issues, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So. The only thing was I missed.
And did you hear about that? They got a checkpoints at the provincial borders for storm chasers and make sure to check your vaccination status when storm chasers travel to between provinces.
Okay, hold on. Let me get this straight. Does that imply that the storms give you COVID? Is that why they're doing that?
It's a COVID storm.
What the hell?
I'm talking about the bad weather, about the storm chasers. During COVID restrictions, they have to show proof of vaccination when they go to another province.
You know what? I would be very happy to call into work and say, hey guys, I chased a tornado and I got COVID, so I can't come to work right now. The provincial border guard said I can't come to work because a tornado gave me COVID. I support this initiative.
Just imagine.
The question is, if you are
A tornado.
you've got it. Like Florida, Mississippi, all the areas for hurricanes are just so high in the numbers of COVID that it's like
blowing it all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay, so if mask, but the tornado is just throwing COVID around like it's Florida man's fucking front yard. So that means that the masks aren't doing anything because the tornadoes are stronger than the damn masks. So don't wear your mask because the tornado can give you COVID.
Tornado will just whip it off.
I have a tornado-proof mask. And look who just showed up. I know he's on the road somewhere near Thunder Bay right now. Joe Stover out of Churchill, Manitoba, traveling.
Oh,
he
yeah.
went to a cross-border, so he might have some insight into this. Of course, from CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg's How Do You Do review show host, Joe Stover. How's your trip?
So far, so good. I'm just pulled over to the side of, I think, in one of the places that the snowplows turn around on the Trans-Canada, you know?
Snowplows.
Yeah, well, where they turn around during winter.
Okay.
But I'm just outside of Ignis, Ontario. It's been a great drive. The weather is beautiful. The stars are out. There's a full moon directly to the east.
Definitely not over here.
I
I don't know where the hell you are in Ontario, but it's definitely not over here.
Yeah,
incredibly rainy here.
So I hear. So I'm in northwestern Ontario right now. I should be in Thunder Bay in about 2.5 hours, and looking forward to continuing my drive along the Trans-Canada tomorrow, Joey.
Beautiful.
Quick question.
Wonderful.
I got a quick question here. What's your shirt say?
Yeah, whose shirt?
Oh, it's my B.A. Johnston shirt.
Nice.
Oh,
That rules. I have 3 different B.A. Johnston shirts, but I don't have that one.
Oh yeah, I've got every B.A. Johnston shirt, show I go to, I get a shirt and a toque. So I have 3 toques. One says Chud Life. The second one says we're all going to jail except Pete. Pete's gonna die. And the third one is I have a deep fryer in my bedroom.
This next song is a song about when your mother buys me an industrial-sized box of dark meat chicken nuggets for a very late christening gift. And then she has the audacity to refuse to cook you the chicken nuggets. So the next day she goes down to Zeller's and she buys you a deep fryer and has it installed in your bedroom. It's a song called I Have a Deep Fryer Installed in My Bedroom. I just wrote it today. It's the first time I've ever played it, so be kind, Ottawa. Hopefully we can get all the way to the end. Got a deep fryer in my bedroom. Got a deep fryer in my bedroom.
Great song.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
Wow,
he's,
what a great shirt.
he's good. But
So
I'd
as you're
like to
coming in,
I'm gonna keep on
Did you
trucking
just
here,
say
folks.
Bud
But
Light?
I just wanted to say, hey, pop in and say hi to everybody. Drive is going good. Looking forward to seeing the rest of the show this weekend when it's all finished up. But I really should be on my way, unless anybody has any other questions for this rambler.
before you go,
Yeah.
Joe, for listeners, we are recording this on the 22nd, Wednesday the 22nd. So you'll be hearing
it's
it in
already,
Prince
yeah.
George like a bunch of days later on Saturday. But seeing as you're traveling through right now and you have Mark Robinson from Weather Network online, maybe he could give you a little bit of a travel forecast.
That's who that is. I was like, who is this? Mark, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you too. You know what?
Yeah.
I know that drive really well because I've done that drive I think twice now, but we did it I did it both times in the deep winter. And it was the one drive we did, it was raining the entire time and I was so determined we were going to hit a moose. I'd love to tell you all about what's going on up there, but I have absolutely no idea.
Well, from what I understand, I was kind of looking at the forecast for the next couple of days because I'm also hoping to get. Well, it probably won't happen tomorrow, but I'm going to try and make it as far as Sault Ste. Marie or Massey tomorrow, so I can hop on the Chichimon ferry the next day, so I can try and make it to Windsor that night. So I'm looking forward to it all. The weather looks good, so fingers are crossed that it stays this way for at least 2 more days.
Yeah, I'd love to do that run. I've done. I love taking ferries, and I've been all over the world on ships. So ships are one of my favorite things. Ships,
cool.
And trains, both because of both of them. I don't need to drive. Someone else can do the driving for me.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Churchill before? Have you ever taken the train to Churchill?
I haven't. It's one place I've really wanted to go. I've done the drive from Toronto to Vancouver, then Vancouver to Tuktoyaktuk, and then from Tuk all the way back to Toronto.
Wow.
35 days in total.
And the other guy, Nathan Coleman from the Weather Network, he's been up the Nunavut territory before. Yep. Nathan Coleman went and put his feet in the cold water up in Nunavut. I seen a post a long time ago.
The Arctic Ocean, yes, sir.
If you ever have a plane that lands in Churchill, Manitoba, it very well likely could be Joe Stover refueling your aircraft.
Very, very, very possible, but not tomorrow.
He's on holidays.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls. We'll see you later. Frankie, good to talk to you, buddy.
See you later, man.
See you,
Joe was my
love you,
favorite.
buddy. Looking sharp as always, GB.
Oh yeah, well, I don't really, of course, have like the full suit on because I didn't really feel like it, I just felt like maybe it's like it's raining outside, so I wanted to put on the nice little chain, and since it's raining,
Even GB needs a night off, style wise, every now and again.
Oh yeah, right.
You still
I can't look
you
as
still
good
look
as
good.
you. Oh yeah, I know, always, right?
All right.
I love
All
this
right,
hat.
guys. Love you all. We'll talk soon.
Take her easy, Joe.
See you later, Joe.
So Gabriel's been on talking to us about over the last couple of weeks about some of the crazy weather Ontario's had.
Yeah.
Of note, there was a tornado at 5 a.m. Can you just sort of talk us through the last few weeks?
4 in the morning. 4:05.
Mark's obviously you've been sort of on the front line of this. You haven't had to go anywhere to chase storms necessarily this fall. Talk to us about the wonky weather of Ontario.
We've had it was probably one of the most interesting tornadoes I think we've ever seen, like personally, and like even from both a meteorological point of view and just being a chaser for it. It was wild. This thing, we decided to we sort of watched a couple of days of tornadoes and severe weather in September, and that's really unusual to have it like that late in September and that strong. We had like crazy humidity, like we had July level, humidity. So I headed up to Point Clark on the one day. I headed out a couple of hours early just because I was like, I'm just gonna go up there just in case, because stuff started to fire up. So I'm gonna go up there. And I got there, and there's a few other chasers there, and we were watching the shelf cloud come in, and we were expecting was a big shelf, maybe some embedded little QLCS type tornadoes in there. Really hard to nail a tornado at that point, no way. And we're watching the radar, and we're watching like out over the water, and suddenly we see this just like gigantic. Well, actually, sorry. The first thing we saw was a little stovepipe, little white stovepipe of a tornado coming down out of the shelf cloud. And we thought, okay, that's got to be one of the QLCS tornadoes, like nothing significant, but okay, that's really cool. We've seen a tornado. And behind that, though, there was this black like mass behind it, and we're just like, that's weird. Like, it's really weird. And we're looking on radar, and the radar was sort of indicating this gigantic donut hole behind there. And we thought, oh man. So we had to peel out of Point Clark real fast. And so we had to get out of there and head south, like, because I wanted to get south of it so I could turn around and see it from the south. But the problem was that the whole bloody thing was moving really fast.
So, yeah, like 40 knots, right?
Yeah, I went south down towards Lucknow. And unfortunately, there's like as we came out of Point Clark, the sky, like, it wasn't that late. Like, it was quite a bit of sunlight left, but it was like midnight. And so, like, I've seen that in Tornado Alley. You get these giant storms, it just turns everything to midnight. And so we blasted southeast. Like, I started like trying to get to the town. I could not see to my west at all at this point, because it's just trees. And so I'm just sitting there going, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. There's all these cars like in front of us. And I'm like, guys, you've got to go a lot faster than this. Or, this tornado could be coming right at us. We didn't know, we couldn't tell. And, the wind started to blast. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sort of looking at radar at the same time, and I'm seeing the purple beginning to wrap around, which means it's a giant hailing. It was a radar image straight out of Oklahoma. And it was just like, so I had a choice to make to head south or head southeast. So I took southeast towards Lucknow, but I knew that the problem was the road was closed just north of Lucknow. And I sort of went, oh man. So Dave Piano went through, like, he was just in front of me. He went through the road closed sign. And I was like, man, I don't want to get caught down there, because literally to my right, you could see this gigantic mass of what I thought was potentially a tornado, or at least had a tornado buried in there. What I didn't know at the time was the whole damn thing was the tornado. It ended up being 1.3 kilometers wide. So I had to make a choice. I had to go through and potentially get stopped, because I didn't know where the actual blockage was on the main road into Lucknow. And so I had to make the choice. And I went east and then went back southeast again. We got down, and I had my cameraman in the car behind me. So I didn't really want to push it too hard, because I didn't want, he's driving for himself. And I finally hit the brakes when I suddenly realized what was right in front of us was just this, like, the circulation was right in front of me. And so I had to hit the brakes so we didn't drive right into it. And it was moving. The whole thing was moving real fast. And I sort of said, okay, like, I'm going to bail into Lucknow so that if there is like something in there, I've at least I can put a building between me and the flying debris, and put the Dave in there as well. Because you couldn't really tell very, very easily. My instincts were telling me that this tornado at this point was to my southeast. And I was right. I was totally right. When we reviewed the video later, but the whole thing was just wrapped up in rain. You couldn't see a bloody, no classic funnel, no nothing. And then when I got into Lucknow, I started finding all these little bits and pieces of damage all over the place. Dave Sills and the whole NTP crew came up the next day, and I ended up over, I'm trying to remember the name of the town, Kingsbridge, I believe it was, right on the 21, which is the highway that goes to the north-south, right along the Huron shores. A pig barn there just got blasted apart. Dave called out 2 damage. And when Dave went through it, I found damage for like a 6-kilometer path of damage. When Dave took a look at it, he's like, there's no way this was a 6-kilometer wide tornado. It's just, that would be so far beyond the world record, which was El Reno. The biggest similarity, the biggest similarity between the two was sheer size of the thing. What's interesting about this one, though, was that we actually had, and Dave and I we started taking a look, and we think there was like more than a few satellite tornadoes around the main tornado itself, which was possibly like, that was the wildest thing that I've ever seen, was like how many satellite tornadoes were going around the tornado, how many suction vortices were in there. I have film, like I have shots like where the suction vortice is right in the field beside me, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's the tornado.
That was a little one, and that was
well,
that was just one of them.
You see my pictures, if you see my video, like I'm looking at this going, like I'm filming this whole thing going, I think that's the tornado. I think it's in there, not realizing that the whole bloody thing was the tornado. So it was this just absolutely wild tornado in the middle of like in September. You don't expect something like that.
No, exactly. You don't expect that at all.
But what was really neat was that it was a cluster of storms that started off ahead of the main line that was coming behind.
One front triggered, right? Triggered.
The main line hit that cluster of storms out the front and spun up the southernmost one into this monster supercell, which then produced a monster tornado, which we tried to get out of the way of. And like that was sort of the beginning. Like, and then we just had storm day after storm day after storm day in late September, and finally we're having this amazing like 100 millimeters of rain. I've already seen 90 millimeters. Gabe, I think you're out there. You with the stick in the pond, which I thought was brilliant.
Oh yeah. That was that just got covered in like 20 to 30 like minutes. Like I think it's already like gone right now because like basically like all the rain, right, just falls into that one pond. Well, like it would obviously go up that fast because that's obviously what it's made like for. But there actually a little like sewer like next to like there that is actually supposed to suck up the water from rising more than that, but it actually just covered the sewer, and I could no longer see the sewer there. So it's just wow.
The big issue for Ontario right now is that this tremendous amount of rain is hitting a bunch of the watersheds, and some of the big watersheds. The original thought was that it was going to sort of stay over by the Huron shores, and now it's moved over and it's sort of hitting north of the GTA, in and around London to Guelph, and those are some big watersheds there. So we're going to be like I'm literally going to bed as soon as I'm done here because I have to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to go and see how the flooding's going, because there's a good chance that we're going to see flooding. We weren't originally expecting flooding. I know that Middlesex County is now under an emergency order. So all roads in Middlesex County are now closed. That doesn't include the 401. It's north of the 401, but it does include some major roads in that area. All of it's closed because of the ponding and the flooding in that area.
Wow. That's incredible.
We weren't expecting it quite like that. But it's definitely like I was out a little while ago and I was just soaked to the skin after like 20
hurricane. It felt like a hurricane, you told us.
Yeah. It felt like hurricane rainfall rates. Like it really did.
So if you're just tuning into the radio right now, you're listening to the Comedeorological Report. I'm Joey Only, your host, and I'm here with Mark Robinson, Frankie MacDonald, of course, Gabriel Berardo, the Rapping Weatherman, and Imogen Cookie Bailey. You're listening to us on CFUR 88.7 FM Prince George and CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg. We're talking with Mark Robinson right now, and I'd like to get your take, Mark, on what's been Canada's summer. We're at the end of the summer, and it's been kind of a wild summer. And maybe just sort of walk us through a few of the stories that stand out.
It was interesting. I mean, normally I'm down in Tornado Alley in May, but this year I had to stay up here because of, again, go back to COVID. And what was neat was that we had a bunch of good storms in April, and then May just went totally quiet. Into July went crazy, and then August kind of got quiet, and then September got crazy. So it was it was really, really active. Like I was out a lot. I don't think I had a single. Actually, no, I think I had like one bus day where we thought like, okay, something's gonna happen, and nothing did. But that was it, So like it was like Southern Ontario has been super
that day.
And one of the things that Dave Sills and I were discussing, there's not a lot of evidence for this yet because not a lot of the research has been done yet. But we're seeing potentially an extension of storm season well into September and sort of into April, so that we're getting we have these big events in August, and now we're seeing shifting into September as opposed to happening in August, which is unusual, but it does have a big effect on like agriculture. So like we're seeing like tonight, we're seeing pictures from out near Grand Bend. We're in water.
Right? I'm like the whole field. So the whole field is underwater.
Yeah, and you can't get a combine through there to harvest the fields, and like all the fields are messed, and so it's going to take a while for the harvesters to get out there and try to pull everything off, which is going to impact our grocery prices sort of in the long run. Maybe not immediately, but it's gonna be more expensive for stuff just because of that. And you add on top of that the drought in the prairies. Like I was talking with Kyle Britton, and Kyle went out on like 3 storm chases the entire season this year. They were good
next spring you'll be going down to the central states chasing tornadoes and hail.
I hope so. We'll see what happens. I mean, if COVID gets bad again, no one's going anywhere. But right now, my plan is to be down in the alley next year, and I think Kyle's going too. So we'll see. But yeah, poor Kyle out there, man. He didn't get anything, and so you've got all these fields that are just absolutely in drought conditions. So Southern Ontario right now stands to make a ton of money if they can get the harvest off the fields, but they can't. Not gonna be able to for a little while.
We've also seen like 30 to 40, oh my God, our average tornado rate is like 12 and a half, I think. We've actually been seeing like in the 30s and even into like the 40s. Like I'm been pretty like wild kind of last few like years as in tornadoes.
Yeah, I think I saw NTP put out their count. I think earlier today. It's 44 for Southern Ontario. Good chunk of those. Yeah, last year was.
It breaks the record last year.
Most of them, I don't think we had. I think maybe we had like 1 or 2 EF2s, and this year.
Oh my God.
We've had a lot more EF2s. I don't know. I'd have to take a look at the Twitter, but there's been a lot more.
13, I heard. Like a while ago, I think.
Look, I don't want to give numbers, but I
no.
Final count, or not the final count, but at least the count up to now. For last year, we had a tornado November 15th. Yeah,
Georgetown. Georgetown.
Went through my dad's
I remember. I saw that like video and I was like, what? Like it's almost like Christmas time almost, and I was like, what? I was just like shocked by it because I actually, of course, used to also live in Georgetown also too when I was younger, and I was just like, yo, what? I wasn't expecting that at all.
So, of course, my story in British Columbia has been all about, I think my internet connection's unstable, it's saying right now. So you guys are freezing. So, of course, the story here in British Columbia to start the summer was the extreme heat wave. And then for all of you who don't know, I'm a forest firefighter. So I was busy for the last, I spent a good 60 plus days being busy as all heck this summer fighting fire. One of the things I seem to notice is that this what we call crossover condition here in British Columbia, that's when you have higher than 30 degrees Celsius and lower than 30% humidity. And especially if you have some extra winds, 30 kilometer an hour winds, that's the crossover for fire behavior. And we saw this summer the sheer amount of hours that each area, I'd like to see, I would love for someone to study this and get some exact data. Look at one place. look at, say, Lytton, for example, and how many hours they spent in that crossover range of extreme fire behavior weather, right? And how many years in the last 10 years BC's been in that high. So I'm just wondering, from a meteorological standpoint, if you could sort of talk to our listeners in BC about some of that weather and its links to fire behavior, Mark.
Fire behavior is definitely, like, fire weather is not my specialty. I have, but of course I was in Fort Mac when the fires were going there. And of course, Jacqueline, co-host Storm Hunters, she's in Vernon, and she was literally like watching across the lake as like everything was on fire across the lake. She's got some shots where the sky was just blood red. I mean, it was terrifying for her. And I know that when you get that ridge in BC, when you get this giant ridge, it just allows all the sort of dry air just to come up into BC. And of course, you put that ridge there, and then downstream in Ontario, you're getting the thunderstorms, and like it's all sort of linked together. So when you guys have we get thunderstorms here. So I think we've had an active year. The big question now is this a permanent thing? Like, are we going to see this every single summer? Is this like a semi-permanent, where BC gets ridged and Southern Ontario gets storms?
Through the last 5 summers, at least.
The last 5 summers. But you also have to look at that, data also too in the last 5 summers and see if what been changing, of course, more. I'm obviously, of course, seeing a much bigger change than look. When I was obviously younger, when I was 12 maybe, I wasn't really following Twitter that much and all this radar stuff. But what I of course could kind of say is that based on, I guess, 3 or 4 years, based off when I was 14 maybe, weather have of course definitely changed. You could actually see the actual change, I guess. You could just see it, right? A more active kind of storm season that I've ever heard of out of anybody that has been, of course, doing this stuff for years. Like Mark over here, he hasn't, of course, really seen these types of storms in the this, of course, month. It's just nuts, right? You don't really see it that much. It's
What do you think, Frankie? Is this the climate change future?
Yeah, Frankie.
Climate change is real. That means to burn a lot of fossil fuels, especially in China, Middle East, and Russia, and all those enemy countries.
Enemy countries. That's
Listen to this guy.
Away from that.
So with fossil fuels becoming less and less available, we obviously have to look at alternative energy sources, but no one's really considered creating more fossil fuels by way of just murdering all the animals and then burying them.
That might work.
I mean,
just get it over with.
Solutions, people.
Or the old leaves fall off the trees. That's another thing in the fall of the year. The leaves will become oil.
Oh yeah, also
It's the power of leaves.
What I've also
death.
not that much leaves actually fell over like where I am. Most of them are still kind of green and everything like that. But it also, of course, haven't really been as cold as it I think was in last year.
Up here in the mountains, it's definitely getting. We're definitely getting more of that colder smelling of snow in the air. We got the poplar trees are starting to
smell of snow.
Show sign of change, and fall is arriving fast here in the Cariboo Mountains. So definitely, my memory of summer is, of course, going to be all about firefighting and just what a crazy summer I saw. Yeah, like I say, the last 5 summers, we've had 2 that were sort of down years, 2019 and 2020 for wildfire behavior. Really, the trend over the last 10 years has been a steady increase in the number of days where the weather is conducive to the fire being angry. So talk to us about climate change, Mark, and just how you see these links. I mean, obviously we don't have necessarily data from this year to extrapolate upon, but we have sort of an idea where things have been going and where they've come from.
I always love to say, I don't believe in climate change. And then of course that freaks everybody out. And I say, well, because belief has no place in science. Science is evidence, period. Or you don't have evidence. That's actually the first line in my book, literally the first line. The thing is, like, the reality is we need about 30 years of data to really be able to extrapolate what's happening. We're getting to that point now with good quality data. I mean, the issue is if you go, really far back, the data is just not that good. We haven't got good instrumentation. I mean, we're finding like 44 tornadoes in Southern Ontario. Yeah, that may seem incredible, but it's most likely a good chunk of that has to do with the fact that we know that they're there. We've got something like the Northern Tornadoes Project, which is going out and examining them using GIS and satellites and blah blah blah. If you go back to the 40s, the 30s and 40s, and you look at the number of hurricanes, well, chances are that there were a lot more hurricanes out there that we just didn't discover. But once we had satellites up, we started to see like, oh, okay, yeah, there's a hurricane there that didn't go near any ships or was small or what have you. So that's like the big thing with climate change is that our evidence is getting better and better. But we still need like 30 years of data to really see what's going on. But having said that, of course, we do have 30, 40 more years of data when it comes to glacier melt and the movement of species north. Like, it's not just a meteorological thing. It's not just meteorology that's able to sort of look at climate change and say, oh, well, this is only limited to meteorology and climatology. Well, it turns out no, it's limited. There's wildlife biology, marine biology, ecology, like all these different things that we can look at that are sort of showing up. We're seeing a northern movement ranges of animals north and up, like a certain number of kilometers per year that we're seeing. Like, you might have noticed that Southern Ontario, well, you guys wouldn't know it unless you're in Southern Ontario. We now have possums in Toronto. That didn't happen 20 years ago.
They were sort of down south of Hamilton.
Yeah. You'd find a few in Windsor, here and there. You might hear about them. Now you're finding them like north of, like, up in Mount Forest and north of Toronto, Newmarket. Possums didn't come up this far because it was too cold for them, and now here they are. I mean, there's other reasons for that. Just the way they're they can move up and down highways and stuff, and etc. But we're that's just an example of that. We're seeing when I was in Greenland, we were sailing up the Sonderfjord on our way to Kangerlussuaq. Try learning how to say all those names real quick. Kangerlussuaq, Tarsuaq, it was great. It was great fun because I had to do all this. And we could see you could actually see where what they call the terminal moraine, which is essentially, it was just a big dirt or actually gravel pile, sort of like a big arc out in the fjord itself, where the actual edge of the glacier had sort of extended out to. And now the sort of glacier was like buried way back up in its valley. And I was talking to one of the Inuit guides who were on board with us, and they're like, yeah, that was there 30 years ago. He's like, that edge of that glacier was there 30 years ago. Like, hasn't been that long since the glaciers melted back that fast. And the issue that I have with the whole thing is that it's not about saving the planet. The planet's gonna be around after we're gone. Like, it's like, it has no issues with us. I mean, it's gone through a hell of a lot worse. My thing is that it's about saving ourselves, and the amount of political pushback you get from it is so frustrating because I like eating every 3 times a day. It's sometimes try to do it more than that, especially when you got nothing to do with COVID. But that's the real issue. It's not even like saving all the animals and everything else. It's really saving ourselves and saving our civilization, because I kind of like indoor plumbing and all that sort of stuff, and not fighting the mutant gangs for gasoline on the wastelands. So like that's the whole thing that that comes down to climate change for me. And that's kind of what my book's about too, is being on the front lines of climate change and seeing what's happening. And then
You have a book?
yeah, I'm
wow, I didn't know that.
I've written I'm through the first 3 chapters. There's a package going out. Got my going out to the publishers and agents as soon as I can. But it's been so bloody busy in Southern Ontario. I haven't had a chance.
Look forward to that. Mark Robinson from the Weather Network writing a book. Frankie MacDonald holding up his book.
Yeah, I know a copy of Frankie's.
Tell us about your book, Frankie.
It talks about the autobiography about me when I was a kid and the weather reports and things like that and my past weather reports. So it shows just a sample, that's all. There's me when I was a little kid.
Awesome.
I got my copy right over here somewhere.
Pretty sure Frankie still makes that base.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. My copy. Be prepared. The Frankie MacDonald Guide to Life, the Weather, and Everything. So that might give you some title ideas, Mark.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I was only 17 years old when I was a teenager.
Oh, look at you.
Here's Frankie holding up some maps.
How old, Frankie? How old were you?
I was only 17 years old, April 24th, 2001.
Okay, well, I guess that you were as old as me. But, like, I obviously even wasn't born in 2001 yet, so...
and he's an Ottawa Senators fan, but we like him anyways, Frankie MacDonald.
Frankie's the man.
I mean, right?
Legend.
At least the, of course, Raptors get to play at home this year, right? It will be, of course, better to see them play too. I mean, look, you guys don't watch basketball as much. I don't know what you watch. You watch like the Leafs and everything. I watch like the Leafs also, but let's not kind of get into last season. But let's hope for some better luck,
Okay, so the Raptors are playing at home because no one wants to invite them over.
What? What do you mean no one wants to invite them over?
Okay, basketball talk. This isn't a sports show. So I'm curious why we got Mark Robinson on to ask about the fall projections and what kind of weather, give or take, we sort of anticipate for the fall.
Well, I mean, studying Ontario a little bit, I can be a little Ontario centric here, but I think this will sort of be across the whole country. I'm expecting a quick snap into winter, and that's got me a little it's got me concerned and yet excited at the same time for the snow squall events that are likely to happen for Southern Ontario. Because if the lakes are so warm right now that you get that changeover real quick. And you get some cold air coming in over top, and you're a squall event. So that wouldn't surprise me. But I think we're seeing that for like just about the entire country is going to be switch over to winter. Even though it's taken a while to get to even fall. I mean, it was 30 degrees a couple days ago, and it wasn't like one quick snap day of 30 degrees. It was like a bunch of days of 30 degrees. And I know the rest of it has been a little bit colder.
Okay,
how much exactly does winter suck?
I'm sick of winter now, and I haven't seen a snowflake. Just in case you're
I am, yeah. I am. What I'm of course not sick of is those big fall, wind storms. Like obviously, of course, Mark knows that whenever a Colorado low moves up, and it's at like a 975 millibar maybe, you obviously of course know that there will obviously be a huge wind event. I love those big wind storms. It's so fun to just track the winds and be out there, but it also is dangerous in a certain way also too. But I just of course could not wait until those big fall storms move in. Not the of course snow storms, because I don't really like snow, storms anymore. Found them just quite boring over the last few years. Sometimes there's all this hype kind of up to 20 to 35 and 40 centimeters. Sometimes it's over that. Sometimes it's not even as much. So I mean, look, sometimes it's just like that. But snow isn't really my biggest interest. It's only just like flakes of snow. It could obviously cause a lot of car accidents. Oh, like, yeah, but like,
Here in Wells, British Columbia, last April we had 75 centimeters. That was in April, right? So, when winter hits here, it's going to hit nice and
yeah.
more. So
Oh,
I do have a lot of
75
things to
centimeters.
do to prepare myself for winter. But luckily, I got the new wood stove. Well, it's not new. It's an old wood stove. I can't even say it's new to me because it was actually just in my shed for the last 15 years. But the old wood stove is out. This sort of rusty new. It's new to the space.
Got a deep fryer in my bed. Ottawa. Got a deep fryer in my bed.
So I finally have heat in my place. I've been home 6 days now. It was only 6 days ago my fire season ended. So I haven't been home very long. I'm starting to get caught up.
My hat is off, and that is some serious work you guys are doing out there and dealing with in British Columbia. I wanted to actually come out, but again, COVID was a bit of an issue. I may be out for avalanches, so I may be coming out there in January. So part of the plan to come out and do some avalanche work. So we'll see.
You can always crash in here at the Outlaw Mountain Lodge in Wells, British Columbia, because we do have avalanche work that gets done here sometimes. I know they had some nice explosions last winter, and the local avalanche tech is a friend of mine, and he's actually been on the show before, Dave Merrick. You got connections here.
I've done work with the guys in Nelson, and I've done stuff with the DOD in Rogers Pass.
There we go. I'll take off my NASA hat because I haven't been to space lately, but I do live in the mountains. I got my Avalanche Canada hat.
There you go.
Hey, Mark, if you're not busy this Sunday, you could appear on the Man on Trey podcast.
Well,
Trey Campbell.
I think I'm actually headed down to Windsor on this Sunday to visit family. So I think I'm going to be this is going to be again for me.
That means sometime later on in October, in second half October, you could be on Man on Trey podcast.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Maybe, yeah.
Trey Campbell from Houston, Texas. We got no Americans on tonight, so that's it's truly a cross-Canada Comedeorological report.
Yeah. I
we
know
do have
that.
a little bit of time left. Okay, Gabriel. We do have a little bit of time left. Not a whole lot, but I do want to say again that the study of comedeorology is comedy and meteorology equals comedeorology. That's an exact science that I created. You're listening to us on CFUR 88.7 FM, Prince George.
I know.
And CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg. Our special guest tonight's been Mark Robinson from the Weather Network. Of course, it's not tonight that you're listening to the show. You're hearing it on Saturday morning, Prince George. But so and of course, Frankie MacDonald, the weatherman, the most with 268,000 subscribers on YouTube, a book, bobbleheads, and of course, Frankie MacDonald action figures I was unable to buy this week because DHS wanted to charge me $103 to ship to Wells.
It's confirmed it's sold out again.
All sold out. So
$103.
eventually I will get my Frankie MacDonald action figure. Then, of course, in Victoria, we have Imogen Cookie Bailey, who was dressed as a cow earlier. And Gabriel Berardo, the weatherman down in southern Ontario. So, Mark Robinson, thanks so much for coming on the show. And maybe just give us a couple examples of highlights of things on the Weather Network over the years that stand out for you.
Oh my God, Storm Hunters! I gotta plug that. That's my thing. I've jumped into 4 volcanoes. I've been to Antarctica. I've been to a war zone.
Into volcanoes?
Yeah, into volcanoes.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like literally into volcanoes. I was like, how are you still here,
You'll see. I was in Africa. Yeah, Storm Hunter's got to be the big one for me. And I'm hoping to keep going, but COVID really threw a wrench into that whole thing.
That means, in one of these Storm Hunters podcast with Chris Chittick, Mark, you'll be on El Nino Storm Hunters as a special guest.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, Chris Chittick and Nick the Body. Frankie and I did that one on Monday. So all you listeners out there, of course, you can always listen to the Comedeorological report on my YouTube, Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude. But you can also look up El Nino's The Tornado Hunters podcast. That's Chris Chittick and Nick the Body. And you'll catch Frankie and I on the next episode. And that would be a good fit for you. Mark.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are
I know
you probably know Chris, do you? Yeah, of course. The meteorology community is not that big.
Not that big.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Actually, I actually have met like a lot of people on like Twitter, and like the last like year I actually had it. Surprisingly, I also I also of course do not know as much as Mark. He's been obviously in the business for like 20, I think, years, more than of course I've been even like living. So
No, the professionals called the professionals for a reason.
But I actually have met like a lot of people on Twitter over like the last year or so. I mean like I'm getting there. It's not like you don't just find a teenager that, you know, likes, of course, weather as much as me. I think I'm like the only one in my whole entire like when I was in Vaughan, I was like the only one in Vaughan that ever actually did weather.
Thought I was
I'm
weird
like,
when I was a kid. Yep.
it's just
Like,
called being
he's always
different,
looking
right?
up at the sky.
Being special, yeah.
And that's why
Different,
I was a natural candidate to be a danger tree assessor on the wildfire line, because I'm always looking up anyways. It's just part of my habit. Of course, at Tremont Creek Fire, I had to be careful looking up all the time at the weather and the treetops, because invariably I would step in some cow poop. It was a real occupational hazard of the Tremont Creek Fire.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I gotta come out with you on one of those, man. That's the one Storm Hunter show that I haven't done is to be out with the on the fire with the fire crews and be out and see exactly. We did one on Fort McMurray, but I wasn't down with the fire crews, and that's what I really want to do is experience.
Right on.
Like to actually be out on the line.
We can easily set that up.
Woo!
Really. Some of the footage I got was on my YouTube, Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude YouTube. It got picked up and used, and I got interviews to go with it with CT
on the news,
BBC National.
CTV.
So yeah, it was like, you know, I got to see some pretty hot fire action for a bunch of days in a row, and the footage was pretty wild. Of course, you know, we're so busy working that you don't get all the footage of what we're doing all the time. It's more of like when we stop and we're like, whoa. Yeah. Well, I guess we lost. Look at that.
I want to film you guys. I want to film you guys, see what you guys do, because I don't think there's enough of appreciation of how freaking hard you do, how hard you guys work, what you guys are doing. So that's really what I want to showcase.
It's the most demanding job going, and you know, and good firefighters want to do it. You know, it's like a warrior attitude, right? So definitely take a look at the YouTube, and you'll see. I think I got at least like 20 episodes I made of our fire crew, the Tomahawks, this summer. That was a crew boss for, and I just had some great guys to work with. I was really lucky. You're gonna say something, Frankie? We got a couple minutes left.
And did you hear about that? And did you hear about that? Nathan Coleman from the Weather Network, Reed Timmer from AccuWeather. He's extreme meteorologist and storm chaser. He could be going on your podcast one of these days.
Yeah, I keep waiting for Reed to come on.
Oh yeah, and also Nathan too. Yeah, Nathan Coleman. Yeah, wow.
My Twitter's @Frankie McDean. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My YouTube channel is Dogs Wolves. My Instagram is Frankie McDean 1984. My Twitch is Frankie Down 1984. My TikTok is Frankie Down 1984. And my Snapchat is Frankie MACD1. My Clapper is Frankie Down 1984. My LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald.
Frankie, so the man.
Bam!
Damn, dude, you got a huge directory. You're full on directory.
I don't even have that much stuff.
Most people don't. You know what? Frankie's larger than life, man. He's a legend.
I know.
If you try and tell someone else about Frankie, he sounds like a myth. Yeah. Good luck, everyone else.
Oh yeah.
I gotta run into Frankie when I'm out in the East Coast at some point. That's just I gotta figure that out sometime.
It's all gonna happen. We've built a little community of Comedeorology, and we'll all keep pointing and laughing at the weather, enjoying the friendships that we make.
You and Nathan Coleman for the Weather Network, and the Weather Network camera, and the Weather Network microphone.
Frankie knows how he wants to be filmed.
So an update for you guys. You remember earlier this summer with the heat wave when we had Richard Bone on here? He had those beautiful photos of all the lightning.
Yes.
that
Do
destroyed
you remember
like
it,
British
Gabriel?
Columbia.
I do
These
recall.
fires destroyed that town.
Amazing photography technique. One of his photos got shortlisted for a Canadian Geographic calendar.
Oh,
Yeah, so we might be seeing one of those beautiful lightning photos in some Canadian Geographic material. How
then we'll
cool is
definitely
that?
have to get him back on and give us his
Yeah.
meteorological assessment of his photography once again. Those were some fantastic photos.
Yeah. Brilliant technique in there. Brilliant method.
So we've come to the end of the show, I suppose. I'm Dr. Joey Only here in Wells, British Columbia, in my Star Wars gallery house. You can't really see probably, but there's 85 ships flying above my head right here. My crazy machinations that brood of my brain go straight up into the Star Wars galaxy above me. Here in beautiful Wells, British Columbia, thank you, Prince George, CFUR 88.7 FM, and thank you, Winnipeg 95.9 FM, CKUW. Comedeorological Report will be on next week again. Tune in. Thanks so much for coming on, Mark Robinson. Thanks for coming on, everybody else. This has been a great show.
Frankie, the weatherman. Frankie, the weatherman. Who? Frankie. Who? Frankie.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frankie!
Got a deep fryer in my bedroom. Got a deep fryer in my bedroom. And the French fries are dancing in my dreams. And the deep fried shrimp is my reality. I'll roll over in the middle of the night. I toss some shrimp in and go back to sleep. Then later on, when I wake up on delicious deep fried shrimp, I shall sup. Got a deep fryer in my bed. Ottawa. Got a deep fryer in my bedroom. And baby, sometimes late in the night, I'll roll over and I'll stroke you to see if you are alright. 'Cause I love you, but lady, my deep frying machine. Is it wrong to marry a deep fryer? Say hello, Ottawa. Got a deep fryer in my bed. Everybody got a deep fryer in my bed. Just the ladies got a deep fryer in my bed. Just Phil.